Hello and welcome to another Daily Muppet. In today's video, which I'm recording kind of late at night my time, because I'm actually going to be traveling in the next day or so likely won't have time to put something together ahead of today, kind of tomorrow, but today, game against Athletic Bilbao for United. Um, I wanted to just put something together here and put something out there. Had somewhat of a long live, and I know that that is not the way everybody consumes, the news on here. So I wanted to put something a little more succinct and brief together to have, and then if I can go live before the game to discuss a few other things, then I will. But for now, I just want to briefly touch on and put to bed the Bruno Fernandez situation so that we can stop discussing it once and for all. I want to talk about another striker option that has come up that does actually have a little bit of validity, but maybe not as much as we might think. I want to speak about Matthijs de Ligt and his injury, which it appears we have good news in case you missed it. And then I want to speak about Bendito Mantato, some other things with youth, and then round it out with a little bit of the news about what is happening in terms of the game against Bilbao and a little bit of fortune that we've gathered. Before that, I just want to I want to share something, a little bit of a game, a competition for people in our community, the Muppeteers community in particular, for United fans. This is a new thing. It's being put together by the guys at Big Up who I do all the watch-alongs with. So if you come over there and you enjoy watching those, or if you don't, it doesn't matter. You can participate in this competition. I think it'll be fun. It's kind of like a fantasy competition where we get to pick 5 players, add up the points, have a leaderboard. You try to win, I compete, and we see who wins. And you can actually win some real prizes with it. So I wanted to show it here. Play fantasy football with your community. This is created by them, just like quite literally specifically for me right now. It's really cool, actually. Basically, yeah, you go in, you've got a budget. You pick your players that you want to win, that you think are going to accumulate the most points based on the fantasy rules selected. You have to get 3 from one team, 2 from the other team. There's some rules there. You have your salary cap and you have all your points and things that you can read. You pick your team. You submit who you want. Obviously, you shouldn't pick some of these guys because of they may not even play. But based on that, the competition will close when the when the game starts before kickoff, and then afterwards they'll pick the winner. So you can see the kind of the timer up here. This is as of when I'm recording it. It's closing sooner than that by the time you watch it. As you can see here, this is a game that has a prize of $100. The winner will get 50, the second place 30, third place 20. But in addition, they're going to throw in, because the guys at Big Up are making this, and it's something that's going to integrate into our watch along platform, which I think is really cool, where we can have like a leaderboard and competitions and status and all sorts of things. But we're going to also include a Maguire Dino custom kit for the winner this week. And we'll actually do this for every game, and then there will be, once they can integrate into the platform, leaderboards, things like that, and ways to play for free as well, just accumulating points by watching. But it is a fun game where you can actually win something. And so, yeah, I've actually already entered my team in, so you can compete, see who can do better, all of that. If you're into that kind of thing, money aside, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a fun thing for the community, and hope to see people participating. Obviously, there's also a limit to the number of people as well. So yeah, come on over. The link is below. You can click that and join, and it'll be a lot of fun. I promise it's safe. No one's stealing your money. It's Stripe, and it is all good if you want to take part in it. If not, no problem either. And this could be a fun way for the community, for everybody to compete and have a game and things like that. And then it'll be on the platforms when we're watching games. We can see like the leaderboard as it updates and things like that too, which will be really cool. So on to the news itself. First talking about Bruno Fernandez, and let's put that to bed. Bruno Fernandez, obviously there's been tons of rumors, and then in the press conference today, Ruben Amorim says, we want Bruno here. They're tweeting this, but not just that. Look, the fact of the matter is David Ornstein, other people have all come out and said right now, Bruno Fernandez is not interested in leaving United, and United are not interested in entertaining any offers for him, and the release clause, it ain't real. So That's what I've heard. That's what I've said. That's what's out there. That's what everybody's saying. Put it to bed. Bruno is here to stay. He's our captain. He's a part of this team. We don't really have to think about this anymore. Bruno is here, and he will be here next season. So that is just putting it to we don't have to worry about it, and that's really how it should be. That's what we all want as well. Anyway, um, following that, there was, well, let me see if I can get it, some interesting news about Moise Kean. Now, the other day, Santi J and some others said that there was another striker on our list, a fourth striker in Europe who was potentially interesting after Delap, Gyökeres, Osimhen, three main names on there. And today that was revealed to be Moise Kean. He has a £43 million release clause. Valid from July 1st to 15th. He's playing at Fiorentina right now. Now, one little piece of news is that Chris Vavell was scouting at this game, as far as we know. Maybe it was assumed he was looking at others. Maybe it was Moise Kean. That being said, I would have a little bit of concerns over this one myself personally, looking at the numbers. If you look at him in general, you would look and compare him and say, Kean, this is a good striker right here. Look, he's got good numbers. You look at him against Almoridian, Samu, he's got good numbers. You look at him against, Erling Haaland. He looks like every other striker here. Big XG, big goals, decent in the air, good, strong attacking actions, does a lot. Not a creator, obviously, but an out-and-out number 9, and you would be right. He is that guy. He's an out-and-out number 9. He's scoring a lot of goals. He's actually got some really good stats. The problem is we have other information on Sir Moise Kean here, 25 years old, because he's been around, right? He's been around for quite a while. You look at his numbers, they look decent. He's a good dribbler. He is a good scorer. Well, again, all things considered, basically the same profile as like a Liam Delap or somebody like that. The problem we have is we know Moise Kean. We know who he is. Look, United were following Moise Kean for some time when he was a young player at Juventus. Kind of broke through on the scene. Actually did quite well here at Juventus at 18, 6 goals, 500 minutes, burst onto the scene. Everton bought him, brought him in. He didn't really kick on at all. He struggled. There was difficulties. His stats aren't even terrible, but I do remember he was struggling and just things weren't great. It doesn't seem like a good setup. Then he goes off to PSG and he kind of does okay. 13 goals, 1,700 minutes. That seems pretty good. Lands back at Everton briefly before he's sold to Juventus, and he just has kind of petered out from there. 7 goals and assists, just okay numbers, but never really making himself a place in the team. In a fairly mediocre Juventus side as well that also needed goals. Goes off to Fiorentina, blows up here, has a big year at 24 with 20 goals and assists. Now, look, we were kind of making some comparisons on the live talking about this that I think it's fair. He's 20 goals and assists in this many minutes. This is a good return at Fiorentina. The problem is we've seen him. He didn't cut it in the Premier League. The pressure was too big. When I actually looked at it, he was a player who was one of the good examples of a young, promising striker that was brought in on potential and flopped. This looks a lot like Rasmus Højlund. When you look at it statistically, a short season, but some potential, then popped up and, was bought and all of that. Now, if you compare him to some guys who've also kicked on, you have Matheus Cunha. Now, if you look at him, he kind of was doing okay, went to Atletico. He actually kind of did okay, but had a bit of a weird, this is actually a really good return, but he didn't find his place in the team. He kind of kicked on at the same age of 24. The difference is Matheus Cunha has 2 seasons, and they're in the Premier League. So we know he can handle it here. We know he can hack it here. We know he can do it here. We look at guys like Brian Mbeumo. He kind of, but look at these numbers in the championship. He was already doing big numbers, came to the Premier League, they dropped, and then they've been steadily increasing through the Premier League. So we can look at that and say he's done it. If you take someone like Liam Delap, for example, it's part of the reasons I have concerns over him. Because when I look at his numbers, he's never really done it. But he's only 21. and he's kicked on a bit in the Premier League, not in Italy. If that was one season in Italy, you might be looking at it and saying, nah, I don't know about this guy, right? Bruno Fernandez also kind of kicked on at 22, 23, 24 years old for Sporting. That's when he really blew up. But again, he had a couple seasons, 19 goals and assists, and then 33. He was on fire. He was lighting everything up. And then a half season at 15 before we even signed him that January. He was blowing up everywhere. Okay. So, point being, they're players that kick on at 24. Another decent example here is Victor Gyökeres, another top striker target when you look at him. But I want to point out a little bit of a difference. He had kicked on for Coventry at 23-24. Now, that's not the Premier League, but he had this history. So when he went to Portugal, he kicked on even harder, and he's had now 4 straight solid seasons of production, 2 of them in Portugal on an ever-increasing basis. You look at that and you think, yeah, the risk is not really there. With Kean, it's one season at 25, one good season at Fiorentina after many years of stop-start, not so very good. And I think that's a huge risk for 50 million euros. Do I think United will do it? No, I do not. But they have watched him in the past. He has been someone they followed at the past, but I don't think that means they're going to go with it right now. And I would strongly suggest that they won't and that he will not become United's striker. At least, he could be somebody if you could get him for 2025 as a backup, as a second striker. I think you look at him. But if you're going down this route, oh man, you're far beyond. Then I'm like, I'm not a fan at all, by the way. But then I'm like, Jonathan David, you could get him for free, and he's going to probably do at least as well as Moise Kean. And I don't want Jonathan David at all, but I think he's better than Moise Kean, and he's not going to cost you that 50 million fee. So it doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe just someone they've looked at. Maybe he's just getting his name pushed out in the media because he's had a decent season, and Fiorentina are trying to cash in now. Then big news that we finally have we've been waiting for a long time. Last week I brought to you on Monday that there was a breakthrough with Bendito Mantato, and he was finally set to be included and have developments and then get his pro contract sorted. He did. He was included with the first team training last week, included with the Europa League squad. This week, again, included with the Europa League squad, the training group. He should be in the squad on Thursday, may be in the team in the squad on Sunday, may be in line for a debut now. And today, or yesterday, May 7th, let's say, the highly talented Bandido Mantato, this comes from our good friend Sully Talks. We were talking as well, and he said he was set to sign his contract today, May 7th, yesterday. And then we have here from Academy Scoop a picture. He has, in fact, signed his first professional contract with Manchester United for 4 years with the option to extend another year. So, Bendito Mantato finally signs on his pro contract. It is finally done, and now we don't have to worry about it. I do expect we will see him at some point here in the next few games as a good opportunity, depending on the state of the game on Thursday, depending on where we are at. I think there's a decent chance that he will come into the team and that he could get some minutes. We saw last Sunday, that we got a chance for Ramos, we got a chance for Fredrickson, we got a chance for Cheeto, to get another deal, to get a start for him finally. So now is a chance for this to happen, and for maybe this to be Bendito's turn. Again, really exciting young, probably wingback for Amram, but I am curious to see where he fields him. That could give us more in terms of Ahmad up front. It could give us rotation for Ahmad on the side without having to compromise on our wingbacks. Hopefully he gets a chance. Hopefully then it means he's with us in summer and we get to see what he can do, because he is an extremely exciting young talent. And there are more pro contracts on the horizon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Finally, in looking forward to Bilbao, as we were speaking about, Inaki Williams, the uninjurable, who played at one point, 200-something games in a row. Nico Williams, his brother, and Oyan Sanset are all not in Athletic Bilbao's traveling squad to face Manchester United. They really lost all 3 of their forwards. their three best forwards there. So a little bit of luck goes our way, even though they did have two of them for the first leg and we still won 3-0 away. It just, should make us feel a little bit better about facing fewer and fewer threats um, in the second leg. So that is good news for us. And so in the lead up to today's game, obviously it should hopefully make things a little bit easier. Yeah, and I mean in terms of the squad, I was putting this together in terms of what I think we will run with. Um, Ruben Amorim is somebody that when something works, he's obviously tending to stick with it. Not that we have an enormous amount of options right now, but there is something that has been working and has gotten us through now multiple legs in Europe. So you can kind of suspect that he's going to do the same thing. So we build this out. We're going to probably run out, I would suggest, basically the same team as last time. We get Lenny Yoro off the side. We get Maguire in the middle. And we have the biggest question we now have is who was in there? It was Lindelof and it was Mazraoui at fullback. So the big question here now is who do we start at the fullback positions? Because it was Dorgu and it was Mazraoui. Now I think it'll probably be Dorgu, but the only change that I could see being possible is Mazraoui moves to center back. Amad Diallo comes into the side at wingback. That is possible. Otherwise, it'll probably just be the exact same 11 if we want to be safe with Ahmad and use him as potentially a sub should the situation arise, or for 30, 40 minutes just to get more energy and more minutes under his belt, more returning to fitness. The other obvious one is Shaw. Could Shaw come in here? But I would suspect, you know, it's this or Lindelof, and then Mazraoui here, and we sub on Ahmad and Shaw at some point later on to keep things going. But I would strongly suggest this is, in fact, the team that we will go with. So we'll find out about that. And given that guess, obviously, just going to mention once again, because you do get points based on the lineup. That's my best guess as to the lineup. If you do join the game and pick, you get points for players starting and all of that. So I think that's what it'll be. Maybe take that under advisement if you join and play. And during in the watch along and afterwards, then I'll obviously take a look at that, see how it's going, and that'll add a fun game to it. So make sure to use that link and join below if you're interested in playing and competing with me and other members of the community and winning some prizes. Okay, that's what I have. I hope you all enjoy your day. Hopefully the game goes well. If I see you in the video, in a live, or in the watch along in the lead up to or during the game, great. Otherwise, I will see you all later. My next few videos will probably be from a different location. I won't have my setup, so I apologize if the audio is going to be less crisp, less clean, less beautiful. I will be traveling, so I'll be in a hotel. So maybe from a lobby for the game or before the game, just depending on when my room is ready. But then otherwise, I'll be trying to make videos from at least the room where it's a quiet and calm environment for Friday and Saturday. And then back to normal after that. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. See you in the next video.